Reverend clergy that are here with us, all the family, friends, the sworn members and professional staff of the police department of the city of Minneapolis, and all our brothers and sisters in law enforcement from around the state and actually from around the country that are here with us. Thank you for coming to remember and honor the life of a true hero, a role model for so many young people, and a true public servant. Minneapolis police officer Jamal Mitchell was all of that. Once again, we find ourselves gathered in this region of the country with black mourning bands around our shield. Once again, too soon, mourning the killing of a police officer in the line of duty. But then again, it's always too soon for that. I've said this since the day he died, and I will say this every day for as long as I live. Minneapolis police officer Jamal Mitchell represented all that is good about the men and women of the Minneapolis Police Department and about police officers around this state and around this country. In any democracy throughout the course of human history, you need guardians of that democracy so that society can be possible. And Jamal was the epitome of a guardian of our community. Jamal was courageous to his very core. He was empathetic and deeply committed to the cause and the mission of police officers around our country. He was heroic as a man unto the very end. Just 3 days on the job, I met Jamal on a scene after he had run into a house on fire in southwest Minneapolis, rescuing an elderly couple that could not navigate their way through the smoke to get out safely on their own. That courageous act earned Jamal a life-saving award from the MPD. Jamal said at the time, "This is what I got into law enforcement to do, to save lives and serve our community." When a reporter asked him, "Are you trained to run into fires?" Jamal said, "No, but we are here to put our lives on the line on behalf of others." That's the kind of commitment people hope for from police officers. And that's the kind of commitment we expect from all our members. A year later, that commitment, that steadfast, resilient dedication to duty, led Jamal on full display when Jamal responded to his final call on May 30th. But tragically, on that time, Jamal's actions, his ethics, who he was as a man, cost him his very life. What happened is beyond comprehension. But as people of faith, we know that Jamal was here on purpose. And even this, as painful and as unexplainable as it is a part of his plan. Jamal did not hesitate to answer that final call for service, and he lived up to the highest standards of the Minneapolis Police Department and the policing profession itself. For Jamal's courageous, selfless, and unequivocally heroic actions on that day, he has been posthumously awarded the two highest honors of the Minneapolis Police Department, the Medal of Honor and the Purple Heart. As a police officer, Jamal served honorably, and he was loyal and faithful to his oath until the very end. Such is the sad fate of far too many police officers lately. One day you're helping someone who is grateful and good. The next day you're confronting the evil of someone who has no regard for their own life, let alone the life of others. We know the pain Jamal's family is experiencing is something that just cannot be put into words. Jamal was just trying to provide aid to someone he thought was in need of help when he was so suddenly and just without warning and violently taken from us. Public safety is a responsibility that all members of society have a role to play in and share. Everyone in the criminal justice system has a job to do, and in order for that system to do, everyone must do their job and do their part. But everyone in the community as well has a responsibility to achieve public safety. And in Minneapolis, police and community are a whole lot closer than a lot of people would have you want to believe. But the policing profession itself is different from other jobs. People like Jamal agree to show up on behalf of others. They agree to go work nights, go work weekends when so many people expect to work from home. People like Jamal agree to go miss holidays, miss their children's birthdays, to go and answer the call and try and keep innocent people safe. While it's true that people like Jamal are exceptional, Jamal was not the exception in this profession. He represents the vast majority of police, the vast majority of men and women who live a life of purpose in this very noble job. But when something like this happens, we often hear people say, and I've been asked myself, why is it that we seem to lose the good ones? It never seems to occur to folks that perhaps the vast majority of folks in this profession are deeply good. When you agree to live a life where you kiss your loved ones goodbye, when you put on this blue suit, pin that badge on your chest, and go out to answer a call, you just never know. You never know if that goodbye from home will be your last. Every time you answer the next radio call, every time you step out of that black and white car, you just never know. What we do know is there's been far too many of these memorial services lately. And we know that attacks on our police in this state have increased. We know that over about the last year, we've had 11 killings in the last 14 months of law enforcement officers in our part of the country. And when I reflect on this disturbing trend, I cannot help but think how we as a society have become too acceptable of negative and false narratives about all the men and women, the diverse men and women who choose this profession. Words have meaning, and when we paint every police officer with such a broad brush, we become more and more narrow-minded, more ignorant, as if we were to paint any other diverse group of human beings in that way. Over the past few years, people like Jamal, post-2020, have chosen to come to us. Our members that have been here decades, 20 and 30 plus years, have chosen to remain with us, despite so often being maligned by people who do not know them, do not know their families, or do not know what they actually do on behalf of others in our community. The enormously tragic death of police officer Jamal Mitchell should serve as a reminder of the immense power and even larger consequences that words and our way of thinking might have. As we've all seen in the last week, Jamal was an exceptional human being, but we in this profession know he was not the exception. Despite this murder and despite so many of us being in mourning, police officers in Minneapolis and around our state continue to put their uniforms on every day, and they continue to go out knowing full well that they have to come home and face their kids, that they have to come home and face their spouse. And the thought that is going through their mind is there, but for the grace of God, that could have been me. And yet, despite the challenges, they continue to show up. That's what the words on our squad cars mean: to protect with courage, to serve with compassion. Jamal was the epitome of being courageous and compassionate in this profession. He was a shining example for all of us to follow. As a Minneapolis police officer, Jamal rose to every challenge. He was a go-to guy for his sergeant whenever they needed someone to come in early or to stay late. He was respectful. He had a friendly demeanor and absolutely excellent interpersonal skills. As a man, Jamal was intentional about being a role model for young people and an example to countless others. It is not how he died that make him truly heroic. It is how he lived his life as a man up until the very end. Despite all the rhetoric we hear, despite all the yelling, cops and community are much closer in Minneapolis than a lot of people would let you believe. We've seen evidence of that over this last week. The outpouring of love from our residents has been immeasurable. Every day, hundreds and hundreds of people have come to a memorial at the 5th Precinct Station to offer their condolences. They have come at every hour of the day and night, sometimes in steady streams and sometimes just in trickles. The vast majority have been people of ordinary means. A great number of them, folks from the local neighborhood, walking up after a long day at work, bringing flowers, bringing their children, leaving written messages for the family. Lots of praying has happened on that site over the last week from people of all different faiths and creeds and languages. Most of the visitors are on the verge of tears when they see the drawings from his daughter Mason on our squad car, especially those of us who are parents. That's when the true magnitude of this loss hits them. Because he was so friendly and outgoing, Jamal literally has hundreds of folks who have showed up to share stories of friendship and simple acquaintances. They share comments about his warm and glowing smile, about how he waved to them from a passing patrol car, about how he made them feel valued, important, and heard. One constant comment that we've heard is just how fun and how encouraging he was with children in the neighborhood. As a Minneapolis police officer, Jamal Mitchell was absolutely everything we could possibly ask of a man or woman in this profession. To Miss Janet and Dennis, to Tori, Cohen, Jalen, Caden, Mason, to all his aunts, his siblings, all of his extended family. On behalf of the Minneapolis Police Department, thank you. Thank you for sharing Jamal with us. We will be forever grateful for your sacrifice. We will ensure Jamal's memory will endure forever, and we will never forget. Farewell, Minneapolis Police Officer Jamal Mitchell, number 4819. Until we meet again, we love you, we miss you, we will honor your legacy forever. May God watch over your family, and may God bless the Minneapolis Police Department.